Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Inner Spice Family, and a very warm welcome to all our online viewers. This evening's theme, the power of saving, very interesting topic, and for that we have our guest speaker, Veejay Sharma, with us. Veejay is a student of Brahma Kumaris and practicing solicitor in England and Wales. His commitment to meditation and compassionate service has deepened his understanding of humanitarian, fostering adaptability and resilience in his humanitarian and environmental work. So this evening we definitely have a wealth of experience. So please join me in to welcome Vijay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share with you on this topic, the power of saving. Indeed, it's a very broad topic, but basically it is something that we all are doing, we all are engaging in every moment in our lives. So there are some things which we need to be aware of, actually, and some terminologies which I would be using. For example, the meaning of awareness. Awareness simply meaning that I'm conscious and I'm aware of what's happening around me. Words like imagination, the meaning that I'm thinking of something and I have a visual impression of it in my mind. The word experience, we all know what it means. Experience. What was it like on my journey coming here this evening? What was my experience? Was it a pleasant one? Was it something that I am looking forward to? That I really want to be here? What is it that I want to learn? And another interesting word is my perception of things. Am I really understanding what's happening in my life? Am I seeing clearly? Is it something that, are there some things that I need help with? For example, I feel stuck. Or is there sufficient clarity as I progress in life? And then there is another word, consciousness. Because consciousness is a very powerful sense of well-being. I can have the consciousness of being a good person, being a kind person, being a helpful person. So these are some words that, as you know, when lawyers draft the legislation, they try to define words that they will use in that agreement. So there's no misunderstanding. And so this evening we are looking at how we can develop a rich personality and how we can live a fulfilling life journey. So today, how we can learn, how we can discover ourselves, how we can grow and develop our personality. So I give thanks to the Brahma Kumaris Center for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts, my experience, and my learning, what I've learned in life. We will be covering what is it like, what does it mean to save the self, a sense of exploring who am I, understanding my journey, understanding my personality, And how am I managing my personal resources effectively? Am I sufficiently aware of myself? Exactly what am I doing? What is happening in my life? Am I aware of my behavior? Am I aware of my actions? And in so doing, in learning how to save myself, basically learning how to save others around me, building meaningful relationships through listening, understanding, and valuing others. Meaningful relationships. We're not just simply having fun, but we're learning and we're sharing new ideas, valuing others, appreciating their personalities, saving the environment is another really big area. For me, when I was at the University of the West Indies, I came across an environmental group that's in Trinidad and Tobago. And after 2 years, because of my interests and enjoyment of getting involved in activities, there was that deeper understanding and relationship, how to protect plants, how to protect animals, how to protect the natural resources, saving the environment, how important it is to preserve nature, to value plants, animals in our world. And I remember we went on a hike actually up to a waterfall in the mountain. And while walking up the waterfall, on the trek to the waterfall, there's such beautiful sunbeams of sunshine just filtering through the trees. And then while walking in the stream, as if when you put your hand in the water, it feels different. The natural feeling of connecting with nature. As if you become a child once again, something so new, something so beautiful you've never seen before, but you've never felt, a new feeling, a new experience, a world that we are not often exposed to. So one of the most brilliant approach is self-reflection, because when we reflect, we somehow find ways in which we can become better, basically. So after I had completed my degree in biology and chemistry, I moved on to a teacher training program. It was another challenge because we had to learn how to reflect on the lesson plan, how students are responding to various teachings. Your lesson plan could be so brilliant, but your students will destroy it immediately, and you have to start all over again. Students needing more attention, students needed to be listened to. And I remember in one of my classroom, there was a young boy. He came in late, and he said, I said, "Why are you late in class?" So he showed me a bag of empty bottles. He said, I'm collecting bottles at lunchtime because I can return it to the cafeteria and they will give me some coins, some money. And that was his source of income. to buy food or to take back home. But here again, a teacher would think, well, you made a mistake, you've come to class late. But reflection, is there a reason? Some degree of inquiry, something is not happening the way it should, but there is a reason behind it. And then when everything seems to fall apart or may not go in the way that you want it to, we will be looking at the reset button. Reset. Let's start over again. Let's reanalyze what went right, what went wrong. We are not perfect, isn't it? And there's that continuous sense of, I can be better at what I do. Not just better, I can be my best, really, isn't it? I can be my best. And what is my best? Something we all know. What is your best? Some people, a sense of perfect outcome is the best. And for some people, well, whatever it is, let it be. So essentially, it is all about having a fulfilling life journey. And often we come across in practice, there is something that we use, which is our right to private family life, to enjoy my right, to enjoy that right to my private family life under the Human Rights Act. And of course there are other rights like right to life, right not to be treated in an inhumane or degrading manner. But how is it possible for me to be enjoying my life? I want to enjoy life, isn't it? I don't want to live a life of misery and confusion. So interestingly, there are three aspects as we are seeing when we begin to learn how to save yourself, how to have a greater self-awareness, how to explore your personality, how to manage your resources, time, your health, your wealth, your happiness, how to manage it. So for a few moments, I would like us to reflect on something that is really wonderful, something that is so beautiful about me. Maybe many people know about me, but something that I know is really beautiful and precious. Think of peace. I treasure peace. Think of happiness. Think of love. The things that I treasure most. Having a loving family, a loving relationship, a loving atmosphere, welcoming. And even if I'm not welcome, it doesn't matter, isn't it? Because love is what I am. Whether people accept me or not, it doesn't really matter. My choice is that I will always be loving. I will always be kind. And then when we are saving, looking at others, our relationships, meaningful connections, how we are able to relate to each other, listening, smiling, developing healthy relationships, people around me. And I remember my grandmother, when we were young, we had lots of peas and peas pods to shell. And she would tell us stories, beautiful stories. Sometimes those stories will make us cry or make us happy, or by the time the stories are finished, all the peas are out of the pots and the task was completed. And in those days when our parents made it easier for us, made it entertaining, I remember even my grandmother, when we were in holidays, summer break, she would take us to places where we can learn. And me and my brothers, we went to a tailoring shop and we learned to stitch. We learned to mend clothing. How our parents naturally did. For them it was natural. I would say natural because it was like they felt that if you learn something, that will be with you for as long as you live. You learn something today. Yes, I realize. So that's a brilliant word, realization. The power of realization is such a great thing. And how many more people will you be excited to share that learning? It was when I first came to London, one sister of the Brahma Kumaris, she says, senior sister, she says, why have you come here? Why haven't you not told me anything since, well, I said, it was Daddy Janki. I said, Daddy, I'm not here to tell you my problems because I have no problems. I'm here to learn. I want to listen. I want to learn. I want to observe. And I want to spend time culturing my personality. Because somehow in life, from childhood, I never seemed to have a sense of who am I, what am I. But my parents seemed to have that power of knowing and showing us how to be and what to do. But for me, I was trying to find my way. So it was always a sense of learning who am I and what's the best way to be. It wasn't inherent behavior. I had to learn. And then we look at the environment again because it's something that touches very closely to the way we live and how we treat the environment, our room, clean and tidy, the pets we keep, connection with nature, the water we drink, again, the air we breathe, the environment is so much in tune with how we live, how we are, how we behave. And just for one moment, I remember 3 weeks ago, I came down with the flu and I told Sister Daksha, I have the flu, I don't think I can come here today. And I feel 100% really good after, but at that time I went to the GP and the GP was saying, can you inhale? And I was, for a long time, I didn't realize that I actually breathe, And I was listening to the sound of the air, in my body, something which I've forgotten. And then at least once a day I try to listen to my breathing. Am I hearing that crackling sound which I was hearing when I had the flu, when I started coughing and I was given prescribed antibiotics? And the coughing didn't seem to go even after taking antibiotics. But fortunately, suddenly left. But I sort of learned something that I should learn to breathe. So just for a moment, just relax, just feel that sense of being at ease with yourself, being very comfortable. Just let your feet relax. Let your hands relax. Let go. Let your eyes relax. Feel comfortable. And then for a moment, listen. Listen to all the sounds around me. What is the power of my awareness? Am I aware of things that I'm not seeing? Things that I'm not hearing? Do I have a higher sense of perception? So how often do I listen to my inner voice? How often? I remember lately I have been making a summary of what had happened today, things which I was able to achieve, things which I haven't achieved. So a sense of knowing what's happening in my life. And that's the starting point of really saving, discovering, and appreciating who you really are. And in this slide, it's really interesting because remember, each one of us are very different. Each one of us. In Ilford, there was one sister who shared that experience, that if you were given a diamond ring today, so precious, so beautiful, for many days you will enjoy wearing that ring. After 1 year, after 2 years, the joy and the happiness seem to disappear. You even forget that you're actually wearing this precious diamond ring. But then, is it something like who we are? That we have actually forgotten how precious, how beautiful, how wonderful that I am. So just for a moment, for example, if you every day just think, what is it that you like about yourself? And that's the beginning of actually treasuring, valuing, appreciating who you really are. I remember while we come to classes every day, or quite often today, centers or wherever we go for learning, there is something that we learn. There's something that we develop a sense of knowing who we really are. But the inner core values like love, peace, truth, honesty, kindness, do I really know those qualities? And what exactly stands out the most? So I'll give you a little hint. All of these values and all of these qualities are really beautiful. But what was it for me that I was able to learn about who I am really? Often I would think I'm a very loving person. I like to love. And then I was thinking of this love that I gave is a unique energy of love. So not only that I enjoy being a loving person, but the energy of love is what I am, that energy. There's a beautiful energy of love that I am. A beautiful energy of peace that I'm made up of. There's something about this peace that I appreciate or that I have within me that I give to the world. Discovering who you really are. And then I'll tell you another very, really interesting thing, that the more you discover these inner core values, they are really inner powers. Powers that are locked within the self. Powers that the great people, the great leaders, the great teachers harnessed. And you know what? They developed the power of healing. The power to heal is such a beautiful thing because there is so many people that are in suffering. They're very depressed. If you look around you, how many people are worrying, depressed? Something is disturbing them. Something is making them feel very uncomfortable, leading them to take all sorts of limited supports that even destroy them even more. But with your stability, with that ability to concentrate and to go deeper within the self and to have a greater sense of being who you really are, we are giving that strength and support. So personality awareness is something very beautiful, because in that deeper sense of awareness, you bring clarity to your circle of friends, circle of colleagues at work, because your mind is not clouded with unnecessary, useless thoughts. what is unnecessary, useless thoughts? We actually think too much and we worry too much, isn't it? Without having the faith that the outcome will be really good, right? So that in itself is something to master. Thinking less, worrying less, and enjoying and appreciating the present moment is so beautiful. Why am I worrying? Why am I feeling that something is missing? When in fact, it's the most beautiful moment. It's just every moment in life, every moment right now is beautiful. Let's see what's right now, in the now, and not worry about things that happened in the past, or what I would like happening in the future. But right now, let me treasure that moment. So I'm learning how to manage my resources, time, health, wealth. And that sense of learning when I saw this slide, I remembered once I had felt that my life was like this piece of paper all crumpled up. And then I was wondering, why am I thinking all nothing, just... And the feeling that, well, I need to learn, I need to unravel what's going on in me. I need to identify my strengths. I need to reflect on what I like most about myself. Talents, the things that makes me unique, so different to everybody else. And no one is more important or better than anyone else. Each one of us, we are unique and beautiful in our own way. And at least to feel that I am unique and there's something beautiful about me is the first step in saving myself. Because the moment I think that I am not good enough, I'm not a good person, it's then when I'm losing the power of the self. But if I can hold on to my strengths, hold on to who I am. So like we said earlier, learning, each day I'm learning something. I'm gaining wisdom from experiences. Again, influences, people who have helped me, showed me, taught me many things in life. And even examples which are not pleasant to me, I learn from that. And to find that there are things, there are different ways or techniques that we can use. For example, I know when I was a child, when we were in school, we would write things in our hand. So I've started writing like a virtue or something. Like today, I've just written P as in peace. So I will, every time I open my hand, I see the word peace. And this is precious. Peace is precious to me. And then on my right hand, I've written happiness. Happiness is precious to me. And that happiness is what I am. And it's in my hand. And that peace is in my hand. So similarly, we can develop different ways of reminding ourselves of things that will generate greater lightness, greater happiness. And then there's that song, I think, it is not money that can buy happiness. You can have all the money in the world, but can it buy happiness? You know. And the singer was using, look to the left, look to the right, all the money that you can have, can it make you happy? When things don't go as planned, we have to reflect, we have to think, how is it that we can, what is it that we can do? And often we look towards the Supreme when we don't seem to find a way. Of course, this is spiritual Supreme Being. How we can learn to develop that as well. Building relationships. Create genuine human connections. Learning to smile. Learning to listen. Valuing others. Developing healthy relationship. Fostering meaningful bonds. Compassion. And as we looked at learning from other people, developing skills is another very interesting one. For whatever time we have, we may have spent a lot of time in work, and a lot of time is gone in life and studying and work, and then you realize how much is left, how much more time is left in my life. Things I would have liked to do that I haven't done yet, right? So I would like to learn to play music, I would like to learn a different language, I would like to go visiting different places in the world, acquiring practical skills. And when there are challenging experiences, to be able to have that wisdom to learn. We looked at the environment, how we can value life, how we can develop knowledge about the natural environment, how different species interact and survive. Again, what is this reset button? Ask the big questions. Where am I? Where am I going? Who am I really? Am I on track? Am I really always on track? Or am I lost? Do I know where I'm going? Who do I belong to? So let's reflect on this. There are 5 questions. Who am I? Where have I come from? Where am I going? Who do I belong to? And what is happening in my life right now? evaluate if your current path aligns with your desired outcomes and values. So at least to identify, what do I really want to achieve in life? What do I really want to achieve? Am I really enjoying my life? Like I said to one of my colleagues, I want to get my life back. It was a big thing because I felt like a lot of time is spent in work and I've forgotten how to live, how to be, how to relate. So the social environment got lost in work. So how am I correcting that? Do I have a sense of balance of spending time with the social gathering? Have I forgotten how to talk to somebody? I'm constantly engaged in work and not spend time with my near and loved ones. So that's where we are. Thank you for listening, and for having this opportunity to share with you basically how to save, how to protect yourself, how to look after yourself. Because who really knows you more than you do know yourself? The path of self-discovery is such a beautiful thing. And the journey of learning to discover the people around me. How many of us really don't know each other? In a family of 5, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, do we really know each other? And this is the greatest challenge. How is it that we can learn from each other? And recently, I have 5 sisters, but we have a WhatsApp group. And every now and again, we're sharing what we cooked today, where we've been today, what's interesting today. So there's that dialogue. Though we are far away, miles away. But that little WhatsApp group keeps us together. So there are some ways in which we can develop and continue to have positive connections and relationships. So is there any questions that you would like to ask? And suppose at this point, anybody wants to share an experience of how they have learned and what they have achieved. The most challenging experience in life that you were able to overcome.
Yes, so I heard the talk, and sometimes there are people that have been inspiring in your life, but it may have been 20 years ago. Like, for example, when I was a student at sixth form, I had some very good teachers that lifted me up and inspired me to perform and do the best I can. But as time goes on, sometimes we forget some of these important people in our life. But if we take time to think back and it will help kind of our identity today if we think of those positive people that had a good impression on us. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, certainly. And it may be a simple statement.
So maybe when you were a younger person many years ago, you had different influences at that point in your life, different people that were there for you. But as time moves on, maybe you're a bit older and you lose those connections a little bit with those people that were really crucial to you in your earlier life.
That's an interesting experience, but I would like to feel that now is my time to share what I've learned with others. So I have learned from the people who have positively had an impact on my life, and perhaps moving on, as I begin to build relationships and form meaningful bonds, the things that I have learned when I was younger until today, I will start being the teacher, maybe helping others to learn something that they will remember that as time moves on.
So sometimes thinking back to the times where somebody helped you and the discipline they had and the dedication and commitment, and then vice versa, you trying to help others.
Yes.
As you're now older. And young people are looking for someone to support and nurture them, especially with the current state of things, having had the pandemic and so on. So there is a need for someone to understand that what is your identity and how it's evolving, changing.
Yeah, certainly. And how what you are sharing, what you are giving to others around you. Sometimes it's not words, sometimes it's your smile. Maybe something so horribly happened, but you didn't crash when the world came down. You stood up strong. You supported everyone. So these are actions that speaks, When there was an activity, you didn't disappear, but you showed up, and gave a hand, and support that. So I think indeed, definitely, that our teachers that showed us the way, we are now leading the way and showing others, helping others. And that in itself is a really big voice in the community.
So we have to quite often reflect about where we're going.
Yes.
That's a lot of what the talk was about, that thinking right now at this moment, like what can I do to give back to others?
Yes. Yeah. Because immediately sometimes we judge others and say, well, he's a time waster. He doesn't know what he's doing, and we leave it like that. But then, have I actually listened to him? Like that little kid coming in classroom late, explaining that he had to pick up bottles. It really brought home a lesson, how he lives, what he needs. His parents probably don't have money. And people are going through very difficult times, and they like to know that somebody understands and somebody listens. Yeah. Anyone else?
We can finish. We can finish with the short meditation.
Okay, thank you. So in this moment, just treasure that inner peace, that silence. Treasure that, who am I? Each day observing the beauty, the wonders within myself. Each day observing how I am sharing that, how I am learning from others. Each day observing, thinking, developing an awareness of truth, of honesty, kindness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay, for the wonderful talk and all the tools and tips given. Before we go, those few announcements. Next week, same time, same place, and the topic is the gift of inner freedom. We do have an overcoming anger in person tomorrow. No, sorry, this Wednesdays and Thursdays, 19th and 20th, so which is tomorrow and Thursday. Timing for that is 5:30 to 7. If you wish to join, you can join through our website, and it's in person in here. Every Sunday is morning meditation, which is online only, and timing for that is 10 to 10:45. And our reflective meditations every Mondays and Thursdays, 7 to 7:30 in the evening, and it's in house. Everybody's welcome on that. And based on today's theme, we have a book called Mindsets by Mike George. It's available in the shop, so you can browse through on your way out. So once again, thank you for joining us, and thank you to all our online viewers as well. So have a safe journey back home.